quick. But I was still waiting. Go, go. My feels in blood. No, he can't either.
The networks lie to you about what's happening now.
Gotta say what's up to my nigga Slick Rick.
About what's happening.
For those that don't like it, eat a dick.
Visit Infowars.com/show and support the InfoWars.
It's Friday, July 26, 2024. I'm your host, Alex Jones. We have massive breaking news coming up now.
InfoWars. Tomorrow's news today.
They even brazenly threatened to assassinate President Trump. Iran's regime has been fighting America from the moment. And as we recently learned, they even brazenly threatened to assassinate President Trump. And as we recently learned, they even brazenly threatened to assassinate President Trump. And as we recently learned, they even brazenly threatened to assassinate President Trump. And as we recently learned, they even brazenly threatened to assassinate President Trump. And as we
I thought I'd play that
they even brazenly
a few times for you. This is a big broadcast we've got lined up today. And I'm going to cover some of the most important information ever here in just a moment, because I've been looking at all the different pieces of this. So you might want to listen to me very, very carefully here today, but I'm going to get into the big news coming up at the start of the next segment, because a lot of stations don't carry this first 5 minutes, but we obviously have a massive audience at Infowars.com and at X and many other places that are watching the web version of this transmission. So we have some very grave information to be covering here, and I'm going to restart the show at 6 after. Good, clean launch. And I'm going to cover this just incredibly earth-shattering intel. So I hope that all of you tuned in will share the live links. I hope that all of you tuned in will realize that in this information war, you are absolutely critical to reaching other people. I know that's a no-brainer. You're like, tell us something we don't know. Well, are you active in that fight? Because the globalists are doing everything they can to suppress the truth. And I'm talking about Netanyahu's comment to Congress about assassinating Trump and how Iran wants to assassinate Trump. And his full statement is extremely chilling. And it's not like I'm saying this is chilling now. I said this in the days after Trump was shot, on the Saturday, the Sunday, the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday. I said, they're going to try to frame Iran. And when they try to kill Trump again, they're going to say it was Iran with a truck bomb or a hijacked plane or a machine gun attack, a suicide bomber attack. And I've said it probably about 50 times. And then they came out on Tuesday, 3 days after the attack, and said, oh, we think Iran might be involved, but nobody bought it, so they pulled it back. That was the Pentagon and the State Department. And so now Netanyahu gets up there and says it. And you don't get any more deep state than Netanyahu. And he, of course, stabbed Trump in the back when Trump asked for help during the contested election. When he returned Trump's phone calls, Netanyahu is the same caliber, in my view, as all these other globalist politicians. Absolutely amoral, absolutely sociopathic. And this is a big deal that he said this to Congress yesterday. In fact, I didn't watch the address, and then I was watching it this morning, and I saw a short clip of it, couldn't even believe it. So I went and found the full clip. We've got that coming up here in just a moment after we go to break and join 300-plus radio stations that carry the transmission. But if you're watching on X, we just posted this, The Real Alex Jones. Please retweet, repost it everywhere. Please send it out on text messages, emails. That's when we really reach millions of extra people, is when you get excited and take action. And they're censoring us because, well, you know, the old internet saying, no one knows who first said it. The propaganda would not be necessary if the situation was hopeless. It's far from hopeless. We've turned the tide, but they've got to kill Trump. And Netanyahu's already laying the groundwork for when Trump gets killed. I said exactly this would happen on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. All right, I got off an airplane minutes after Trump had been shot in California to cover a new infiltration of the globalist occultic Bohemian Grove. And I went to the Airbnb rental we had, and I went live on air, and I posted a bunch of reports. I did it Saturday, 14 to 15 days ago. I did it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right through the week. But a full 2 days before mainstream corporate globalist media picked up the Pentagon, State Department, Obama talking point, that's really who is running this administration, as we've been saying. That's not all admitted, by the way. Eric Holder is running the entire operation. I said, if they killed Trump, it would have been such hysteria that they would have done one of two things or both at the same time. detonate truck bombs at black colleges or some big black gathering and blame it on Trump supporters, and or both say that Iran killed Trump. And I even said on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, before they announced there were explosives there, I said they might have even had a truck bomb or explosions go off there to create confusion, and they would just throw some dead Iranian they'd already killed, you know, probably already in the van or something, and then his body be blown up. They'd find his ID card. Now, I said all of that, and I'll play some clips of me saying it days before they came out and started saying it, but no one bought it when ABC News and NBC News, the New York Times, and CNN all said it. Then Netanyahu gets up in front of Congress yesterday, and he says, quote, if they do assassinate President Trump, meaning Iran, which is always a possibility, I hope that America obliterates Iran, wipes it off the face of the earth. If that does not happen, American leaders will be considered gutless cowards. Now, that's called pre-programming right there. He's been saying for 21 years that Iran is 2 weeks away from a nuke. He said it again last week, and so did Blinken, the Secretary of State. So Netanyahu is a top globalist operative. And when they stole the election from Trump 3.5, 4 years ago, Trump begged him for support, and he wouldn't even return his phone calls. Oh, what a good buddy Bibi is. So whether Israel is going to use its considerable intelligence network in the U.S. under his control to kill Trump and blame it on Iran, or whether he knows that there are plots to kill Trump and blame Iran, which there are. I first exposed it because I know the enemy mind. It's all I do. Whether Israel's going to do it or whether he knows the deep state's about to do it, I said it last week. They could say Iran hijacks a passenger plane or private plane with explosives on it, either or, flies into Mar-a-Lago or into a Trump event, or they roll a truck bomb in and say Iran did it, or they send in a group of, quote, commandos or something. It's all on the table. And then Trump's dead, and oh my God, Kamala Harris is on TV saying we're now going to strike Iran, and you hear that nukes have gone off in Tehran, and then the average American will say, well, we better get behind this because America's at war. And then you've got the hundreds of thousands of Hezbollah and Hamas fighters that Iran actually brought in, that the globalists actually let in, who will then, when Iran is hit, they will then attack targets all over the United States, hundreds of them, if not thousands of them. There'll be hundreds of attacks. And we are into total martial law. Internet kill switch is put in. You only get government messages. And the ensuing fog of war, the entire Trump resistance leadership is taken out. Now, I said that like a parrot as an emergency a beacon, probably, let's not exaggerate, 50 times. In the days before they came out, the State Department, and the Pentagon, yeah, we think Iran might be involved or they've got a plot. This is so transparent. Well, then Netanyahu gets up and says in front of Congress that if Trump gets killed, it's probably Iran, and that we've got to immediately blow up Iran. And you're not a good patriotic American if you don't support that. This is just insane. Insanely obvious. So America and the whole world dodged a bullet, and it was all about World War III. Accelerate to full war with Iran and then full war with Russia. And Trump survived. Now, Trump is now listening. And he's canceled outdoor events. That's a good start. They have put up big barriers outside, far away from Mar-a-Lago. But Trump should be, he doesn't have to publicly say it because he thinks it makes him look weak. No, it's smart. Trump should be in an underground location, and there are private ones, plenty. And he should move around every few days. And he should decide with his staff randomly where he's going to go and what he's going to do, because He is in maximum danger right now. And the globalists always pre-program what they're going to do. And from pre-programming before, in a lot of pieces, I knew they were planning to blame Iran when they killed Trump. And then I said they're going to start hyping this for their next attempt. And now they're doing it. Now Netanyahu is up there saying that he thinks that they'll assassinate or try to assassinate Trump. And if they do, we need to wipe Iran off the map. They've done internal polls, big polling agencies in Iran, and found upwards of 70% of the people hate the Islamic government. They hate the Sharia law. They hate the women being hung who get raped. So now let's wipe Iran off the map. Let's just kill all of them, babies, mamas, all of them, because Iran was involved and did fund Hamas. But who created Hamas? Israel. Who gave $6 billion and tens of millions before that to Iran? Oh, Biden. So I don't like the Biden regime. I don't like the Israeli regime. It doesn't mean I hate Jews or hate Israel. I don't hate America. I don't hate the Chinese people because I don't like the Communist Chinese Party. So let's be clear about that. Israel is a diverse political group of folks. Netanyahu's got like a 20% approval rating over there, but he uses parliamentary manipulation like Trudeau or Macron or Schmidt. That's how these people all stay in power, in parliamentary manipulations. None of these leaders are popular. And Netanyahu said, oh, we'll investigate after the war is over what happened on on October 7th. And of course, now the war's never going to end, so he'll never be investigated. I mean, we know there was a 7+ hour stand down. So, and I said at the time, this is going to lead to civil unrest, an attack on Iran, and then they'll activate the real Iranian sleeper cells in the U.S., and it will make 9/11 look like a paper cut compared to a guillotine. So this is 100% crystal clear. And now watching this, Trump is even in more danger. Remember, Netanyahu would not return his phone calls. Look it up. When Trump called him for support, when they were ousting Trump. Even though Trump completely stood with Israel, which is fine with me. I don't want to destroy Israel. I don't want Israel to disappear. I don't believe the mountains and the sea, all that stuff. I don't support the communist left that hates Israel, but I also don't support killing the Christians in Gaza and innocent children. So I just look at things as they are. And the majority of Israelis don't like what's happening. So there is evidence. Look, the reason Kennedy got killed is he made the oil companies mad. He made the military-industrial complex mad. He did piss off Israel. He was already making a fuss in Congress about Israel being given nuke secrets by the U.S., and he was going to put pressure to have Israel give up its nukes. And so there's a lot of people that want to blame Israel for killing JFK. Well, I've interviewed the official mistress of JFK. I've got the deathbed confession of E. Howard Hunt. No, it was LBJ. But you can believe, though, that the Israel lobby had a seat at that table a week before they killed Kennedy in Dallas, where they had all the key corporate people and everybody there. Of course, Israel had a seat at that table. So Israel knew they were going to kill him. But if Trump gets killed now by Netanyahu saying this, Netanyahu becomes the prime suspect. And I'm doing this to protect Trump. I'm sure InfoWars will probably be down in hours every time I attack Netanyahu when he deserves it, like saying, we're going to use the Israelis as guinea pigs and test all these new drugs and vaccines on them and see what works. That'll make us the headquarters of all the new medical stuff. I mean, it's just like Joseph Mengele stuff. And I said that instant attacks on the sites. It's like sticking your hand out on the highway and letting a car run over it. But I've got to sit here and tell the truth. And I certainly don't want to be associated with the left, or the communists wearing American flags, or any of them. They're their own worst enemy. And they would blow Israel up in 2 seconds if they could. So I don't want Israel blown up. I'm not an enemy in Israel, but it's like I love my country, but I sure as hell don't like my government. And I don't like the Israeli government, and they're as evil as you can get. And it's the same damn thing for our government. And the world is getting more and more dangerous by the minute, more and more dangerous by the second. And it's all escalating towards total war. And I'm just trying to de-escalate things and have some basic stability and peace. But all these different globalist forces jockeying for total control in world government, they are battling with each other for control and battling to suppress us. And what will keep the groups currently in control and let them suppress the public is a big war. And that's what we're already in. So this is dangerous for everybody. And if Israel thinks it can survive a nuclear war, or if the globalists think they can, they're foolish. And you see how much of what the New World Order tries to carry out, they mess up and screw up. So they've got the power, but they're incompetent. I mean, Chucky Schumer doesn't know how to cook a hamburger. These people are not builders. All these different globalists, Obama and the Bushes. Remember George Bush when he was president? Went into a grocery store checkout deal 20 years after they had scanners and said, "What is that?" He hadn't been in a grocery store in decades, didn't know what a scanner was. And they're dangerous, and they'll get us all killed. They already got us in war with Russia. They're moving missiles up to the border, hypersonic missiles, nukes on them, up to the Russian border. This is madness, people. And then there is Netanyahu looking like the cat that ate the canary, just totally enraptured in his chutzpah, his bravado, his hubris, his arrogance, saying, "Boy, they killed Trump. Woo, I sure hope you guys all blow Iran off the map." That is a big, 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 big red flag. And it sends chills up my spine. That they're already, you know who the suspects are to kill Trump. Who's been all over the news? Kamala Harris says she wants to kill him in an elevator. They got mud from the CIA saying, "We're going to kill this guy." They're all over the place saying they're going to kill him. They have the Secret Service stand down. Turns out the Secret Service was on the roof and had their observation area 50 feet away above it in the building that was taller with an open window right where the shooter was for 26 minutes. They failed to kill him. Are they going to try again? Does a bear go to the bathroom in the woods, folks? It's guaranteed. So even a lot of Trump's entourage take all of this like it's a reality show and like it's entertainment or Netflix. This isn't entertainment. This is life and death. And I told you over and over and over again that they were going to blame Iran when they killed Trump. Hell, I've been saying it for months. And I said they would blow Iran off the map within a day of Trump being killed. And then they come out and say, "Oh, yeah, we think it's Iran. Oh, yeah, we think they're going to do it again." Come on, people. And then Netanyahu gets up in our Congress in a joint session and says, when they kill Trump, we're going to blow Iran up. Whew. This is the guy that stabbed Trump in the back. And there's Elon Musk right there in the audience. "Hey, Elon, you're smart. How would you feel if Netanyahu said, and if they killed Elon Musk, we blow up Iran?" What would you think if you heard that, Elon? Your best buddy, Netanyahu. Your bestest pal. After Trump rolled out the red carpet to Netanyahu, wouldn't even return his call. Look it up. Netanyahu refused to support Trump during the election fight, during the challenged election, and refused to return his phone call. Because Netanyahu bets on the power. He bets on the establishment. He bets on the system, like all these other scumbag politicians. He's not a friend when you're down. He's not there when you need him. And everybody should think about that and think about the leader of Israel and what he did, because this crossed the line with me. Think I'm stupid, Netanyahu? How dare you? He knows Trump is probably going to get killed. And he's there going along with the talking point that it's going to be Iran. Let that sink in, folks. Let that roll around your head a little bit. Let's play the clip of me. What day was this? There's so many clips of it. What day did you guys find? This is the 15th. So this is Monday, about a day and a half before they said, oh, it was Iran. Remember that? Here I am laying out one scenario. Here it is. They will try to poison Trump. They will try to shoot Trump. They will activate even bigger lies and frauds about him. The big move is to hit him with a large truck bomb. Again, it's in the cards to use a small nuclear weapon and blame the Iranians. They'll be the fall guys. And then instantly, we're in full war with Russia. Instantly, the air raid sirens are going off. Instantly, life as you know it is over. If you look at all the evidence and all the pieces, this was a deep state attempted murder of Trump. And after they did that, they had a whole bunch of horribly evil scenarios ready to bring the country into civil unrest, civil war, and full war, because I said that they were going to blame the assassination on Iran. And then the next day, CNN and the Secret Service and the FBI came out and said that Iran is trying to kill Trump. I know the enemy. Because in my main scenario, right after they killed Trump, they would then carry out some other terror attacks domestically, say Iran did it, and then we would go to full war with Israel, U.S. with Israel, against Iran. We would be in a nuclear war right now, and they would have activated all the Iranian sleeper cells in the United States after Iran was nuked. So the Middle East would be in total war. The United States would be hit by tactical nukes by the globalists. Iran would then activate its sleeper cells and start creating absolute havoc. Okay, so there I am. A full week plus before Netanyahu gives his address. This is really bad, okay? And Iran, of course, is saying, we're not trying to kill Trump. That's the deep state. We have no reason to. We're not. It's not us. You don't see that in our news, though. It's on the Iranian news. They're like, are you kidding? They didn't blame us when their president died a month ago. And that could have been the Iranians themselves killing him. But regardless, I just cannot, I'm just speechless at this point. This is so horrible. Here is Netanyahu at Congress yesterday.
Iran's regime has been fighting America from the moment it came to power. In 1979, it stormed the American embassy. It held scores of Americans hostage for 444 days. Since then, Iran's terrorist proxies have targeted America in the Middle East and beyond. In Beirut, they killed 241 U.S. servicemen. In Africa, they bombed American embassies. In Iraq, they supplied explosives to maim and kill thousands of American soldiers. In America, they actually sent death squads. They sent death squads here to murder a former Secretary of State and a former National Security Advisor. And as we recently learned, they even brazenly threatened to assassinate President Trump. But Iran understands that to truly challenge America, it must first conquer the Middle East. And for this, it uses its many proxies, including the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Yet in the heart of the Middle East, standing in Iran's way, is one proud pro-American democracy, my country, the State of Israel. That's why That's why the mobs in Tehran chant death to Israel before they chant death to America. For Iran, Israel is first, America is next. So when Israel fights Hamas, we're fighting Iran. When we fight Hezbollah, we're fighting Iran. When we fight the Houthis, we're fighting Iran. And when we fight Iran, we're fighting the most radical and murderous enemy of the United States of America. And one more thing. When Israel acts to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons that could destroy Israel and threaten every American city, every city that you come from, we're not only protecting ourselves, we're protecting you.
And so what's being prepared, and here's Trump's Truth Social, if they do assassinate President Trump, which is always a possibility, I hope that America obliterates Iran, wipes it off the face of the earth. If that does not happen, American leaders will be considered gutless cowards. So Trump is walking right into this himself and amplifying what Netanyahu just said. So Iran did not say they were going to assassinate Trump. They said the opposite. They said we are not going to try to assassinate Trump. They know they'll get blown off the map. And again, who's working with Iran? Hamas. Who founded Hamas? Israel. And Israel admits to destabilize that area of Palestine so they wouldn't have good leadership, so they wouldn't make deals to be peaceful. I can't stand the Iranian leadership. They're disgusting. But the globalists want to use them as the trigger for World War III. I'm going to shift gears out of this to some other big subjects when we come right back. Please stay with us. So there's the InfoWars MD line that I don't talk about enough that is all the highest quality, whether it's turmeric or whether it's natural sleep aid.
For everything within the energy extraction matrix is based on the fact that it's the energy extraction. So everything within this holographic universe, like everything is basically cube shaped. Everything is basically the personification of the hexahedron that basically subjugates your whole auric field, which is your dodecahedron, your etheric field. So everything is really to block out the energy so where you're not able to reap the benefits of those electrical transmissions and those plasma energies that's coming from the star polarities. So all this is acclimated to the Black Sun prophecy. All this is connected to the Leviathan prophecy because, as I was saying before, whether if it's minuscule or it's very trivial or mundane, it doesn't matter. Everything is all connected. So that's my perspective on that. Everything is really just an energy extraction to where you're not able to tap into those etheric energies.
So do you believe it's the sun that is activating these powers in certain people?
Well, when you understand the two celestial bodies within the infrastructure of the simulation, the sun and the moon are basically amplifiers and buffers and converters that operates on fractions of light that is extracted from the star Polaris. The star Polaris is what I call the galactic sun, and that galactic sun is basically the epitome of the transmission that's hitting the planet, and that in itself is going to create a form of ionization. And when you have that ionization, it manipulates the energy grid system. So that basically dismantles the liquid crystal polarization within third density. Because when you go to not Revelation, but Genesis in the Bible, it talks about how Satan separated the intergalactic waters from the third dimension. But the reason I said Satan, because when you understand the esoterics of the word God with a capital G and lowercase letters, that is basically Enlil according to Sumerian mythology. So when you separate everything like the fifth dimension from third density, that creates that photon spectrum. That photon spectrum is connected to subatomic energy. That subatomic energy is how you basically subjugate the energy that's coming from the star Polaris. So it's a spiritual cutoffs because everything as far as the spiritual sun, it is basically the personification of magnetism. Because as I was telling people before in the last video I had, your magnetism is your magic. That's how you tap into certain spiritual abilities. So that firmament is basically the problem. That firmament is the spiritual cutoff. This is why it happens in increments. Sometimes we were able to tap into a level of telepathy. We're able to tap into a level of telekinesis and things of that nature, psychometry, clairvoyance. we don't have those abilities intrinsically is because of the firmament. But according to the Black Sun prophecy, when you have the Black Sun working in conjunction and unifying with the star Polaris, that's going to put the green electrical field over the planet. It's a green emerald. It basically gives a certain vibration to the Schumann resonance that operates in tandem with the heart chakra. So you got to be operating from a place of authenticity in the love frequency in order to tap into those energies. So everything that you're seeing right now, as far as like, with the incident that happened yesterday with the 47th president that's going to be in office pretty soon, all this stuff is correlated because it even tells you in Revelations 3:13 about how Donald Trump, not specifically Donald Trump, they say that the so-called Antichrist is supposed to get these powers from Satan, supernatural powers. So all this stuff is all correlated. Whether you're looking at it from an extraterrestrial standpoint, whether if you're looking at it from a biblical standpoint, or even if you're looking at it from a allegorical standpoint.
And, that's funny you brought that up, how Trump has a connection to this powers, and his real last name is Drumpf, D-R-U-M-P-F. And you know me, I look at Gematria. Gematria comes from Jewish Kabbalah mysticism. And we live in some type of simulation, so everything's encoded, including you. You could start decoding your own name, the hospital you were born in, your mother's, it'll all line up. And that's the first time I realized, oh, wait a second. There's not somebody behind the scenes manipulating all the numbers. This is a source code. That's how we're able to see things that are going to manifest in the future. How I've been able to tell you bridges were going to fall before they did, which we're coming up to a new one. That whole Alf ritual where the child star of Alf passed away. His whole situation is tied to what's going to happen out there in the West Coast and the Bay Area. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because they tend to not like when we talk about that. But supercell equals 32 in Chaldean. Chaldean is based on 1 through 8, which, adds up to the number 36, is a very sacred number. A matter of fact, in Judaism, they believe there are 36 righteous men and women born in every generation that play a role in saving the world. And then you'll find these people with this DNA activation code within their name, because you start decoding their name with the gematria, you'll see who has this X gene. That's what I like to call it anyways, within their lineage. And supercell equals 32, matching Nephilim, Drumpf, and Fallout. And what was the movie Fallout about? Well, remember they all had the number 33 on. They were in these underground bunkers. It was a nuclear detonation. So the gamma radiation is what's activating the DNA, which is very similar to the nuclear radiation. So I think there's a connection there to the whole nuclear code and that with DNA activation. As far as the numerology goes in it, Vidal.
Most definitely.
So, Vidal, question. The Polaris, I believe it's Polaris or the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. It makes a sigil in the sky. I don't want to say it, but I'll show here. This book is The Empire on Which the Black Sun Never Sets, because the third realm was very into what's up, Ani? What's up?
With y'all, man?
Hey, we're live on YouTube, Ani, so we got to keep it a little, not too PG, but just a little.
That's cool, man. What's
I'm gonna get in trouble.
My question for Vidal is that Polaris seems to be very important to the ancients. Even the Georgia Guidestones had a little glory hole, I call it, that pointed straight to Polaris. Polaris, it doesn't move. So we can see that this is an important symbol, an important star, or whatever it is. And so whenever this aligns at a certain time, things change. I forget where I was going with that. I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, a lot of the reason that's in correlation, actually, because a lot of the stuff happens when you at the close of an age, and it all works in tandem with the precessional circle of the equinox. So
Well, there's a strong connection to Polaris too with Nibiru, and with the whole power thing. Some people believe it's an allegory. Other people believe it actually is talking about something real. But Nibiru, I think it's another dimension. And CERN has the 8 bars going around in it. Anana's name, the 8.
Oh wow.
There's all this 8 connection with the 8-pointed star symbolism, and we had that in front of Las Vegas. It's the Star of Babylon, but this symbol, the ancients would talk about stargates would open up in the sky, and it would be like an 8-pointed star. There's so many different cultures that talked about this 8-pointed star that would open in the sky, and gods would ascend through it with advanced technology. Now, some people think it's all allegorical, and you know what I mean, but that symbolism, we see it on the Union Jack.
Well, if you kind of zoom out of at the Vatican, that symbol Polaris, you'll see that same symbol right above it, which the third realm used as well, down on the bottom right, which is a keyhole, and the keyhole is right there connected to Polaris. Yeah,
I know where you're going, Donut.
Yeah,
and
you see there at the bottom of the right, at the bottom, you see that symbol right there.
Yes.
On the bottom right, if you just look up the third realm, that's their symbol as well, which is connected to the black sun.
And Donut, could you break down? So you see how it has the keyhole symbol. Me and you found out the number 32 is heavily connected to portal symbolism as well. And what's the number that you have with Supercell? It's the number 32.
Well, I figured out that it's also connected to the rose compass. If you look up the rose compass.
Does that have to do with the Rosicrucian?
For sure. The rose lines are the bloodlines.
Right. The Rosic. So, Ani, I've talked to you many times on the DNA activation. Me and you had an amazing video we did on it. I always love to hear your theories. And one thing you told me a long time ago that changed how I podcast. You told me certain people weren't able to have conversations. Like they just had to be in echo chambers and only hear what they could believe. But the real good people, they could have conversations. Even if they didn't believe something somebody was talking about, they could still have that conversation. And when you mentioned that in a live before with us, and that really resonated with me in, the way I interview now, because we're not all going to agree on everything. And if you got someone just trying to, tear down a person's theory or something, it kind of makes the podcast suck,
Right.
So that really stuck with me. And you said it much better. It sounded more intelligent when you said it. Way more intelligent. But could you break down your theory on the DNA activation? What you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's a theomorphic consciousness. It's a term that a new Gnostic sect was coming up with in the late 60s with some of the Bertio movement and things that came out of the Kenneth Grant sects as well, where they were saying that there will be an aeon of people who unlocked certain abilities spiritually. So that's why when you ask me about Supercell and me looking at the show, and when we did the last breakdown of abilities, I believe it's more spiritual than it's somebody actually flying or these things. Now, there are texts going back to slavery that melanated people actually flew home from America back to Africa. You can actually type that in. It's called the slave narratives. It's called the slave narratives. You can type it in and type in slaves who flew home.
Did you ever hear that story? David Wilcox talked about that dude from Africa that the government tried to kill him and he had superpowers and they chopped him up. And this dude kept remanifesting and coming back. Like they would try to kill him. And he said one day that there will be a lot of us that come and you can't take us all out. That was a story anyways. Cool story.
Yeah, there's been plenty of priests and different magical systems, spiritual systems coming out of the diaspora, which a lot of things, just like how we look at voodoo or abilities that some of their priests or priestesses, their mambos, may have these certain abilities. It comes straight out of the continent, but there were also things going on here, you know, with hoodoo, where they had never learned certain sciences that some of the people were bringing over to Louisiana. That's why that's a big central area. Whereas this woman, a Creole woman by the name of, her name is slipping my mind right now. But
What does
they
Creole
said
mean?
that
I always wondered that. What's Creole mean?
it's just
Like,
a
is that
mixture of, it's a mixture of French and Negro and something else. It's a mixture of mainly, it's a blend of that. It's just a lighter skin tone person of African descent that
Like a
has
mixed
French blood. But there was a woman who was able to conjure tornadoes and hurricanes coming out of Louisiana. A matter of fact, she said at her funeral, well, the day before she passed, that there was going to be a hurricane, and they didn't believe her. And she
How
was
about the dragon people, Ani, in the Chinese culture. There's called the dragon people, and they believe there was like these reptilian entities that could manipulate the weather and hurricanes. You ever hear about them?
no, I don't really, I don't really get into
There's the Naga. If you look into the Naga and these different,
I believe that there are airbender people that learn certain interwoven connections with chi that can connect to the elementals, and there is a manipulation. But I don't believe or subscribe to this new theory, whereas the DNA is going to all of a sudden give everybody these abilities out of nowhere. It's a thing that is progressive over time, where things are being unlocked in certain people that belong to certain theomorphic consciousness that was here in the beginning before it was physical. That means in planes of dimensionality, before we get physical bodies, they belong to that particular spiritual lineage.
right?
You will get these abilities that when the plane was half astral, half etherical, less dense and less density, they had certain abilities, whereas you didn't have. And those abilities will return over time. Now, some of the people saying this one day is going to be everybody get these abilities. I don't think it's not more like a cartoon or anything like that. I think it's very scientific that we can look at how the biology is going to shift and people get these abilities and everything. And it's very, very much been documented that they've been seeing children able to bend spoons with their minds and seeing certain people able to do certain things. And the government has been keeping a close eye on these things and opening or starting these programs. So when I was looking at the show, I noticed they said super cell.
Yeah, like sickle cell. It's a play on sickle cell.
Yeah, a cell is a double entendre as well, because they had them in cells. And then you have these private prison companies. How deep does that go of capturing people and putting them in these cells and harvesting their DNA, because they're injecting and taking out things throughout the show I'm witnessing, harvesting their DNA, harvesting their melanin or whatever thing that they're looking into to.
Oh yeah, they harvest the melanin too. It's a very amazing conductor of energy. So they're using it in computers and all kinds of shit now. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, they've been using it for a while.
Yeah,
the word, the Hindu word drug when you do the research and you go back, the word drug actually comes from the Hindu interpretation of melanin. Literally, the word drug, when you look back and find those texts, I can pull, I don't have them on me right now, but they're in my phone. So
is it in the blood?
It's in the blood. It's in the it's not just in the blood. This melanin isn't just your skin color. That's melanocyte. So people need to go ahead and get out of that. It's your skin color. It's that your skin color is melanocytes. And that is a form of what melanin draws. Melanin is the spiritual architect of drawing the blueprint of how your body is literally going to look in this existence. Before it even comes in this existence, melanin is the consciousness in the spiritual world that draws the blueprint of how things are going to look. It draws your neural system, it draws your veins, it draws everything before it develops. It's this consciousness that does that. So I want people to start looking at that term more broadly than just looking at, is it just Black people or more darker toned people? It's way bigger than that. It's a spiritual study to understand this thing.
Could I show you something, Monty?
Sure.
So I've been doing a study lately on the biofield and seeing if it's real. You know, a lot of people are like, "Oh, chakras are fake and they're new age." Well, dude, chakras are real. You can actually see the chakras on a person. You know,
right.
And then I was looking at the different dimensions too, in the psychic world and hyperconsciousness connected to the sixth dimension. We all know about the 5D, right? And but then you get into the sixth dimension, and it's tying into chai and prana, like Andy was talking about. But maybe it's people that are vibrating on a different frequency.
The inside. Yeah. Yeah, desire is just an emotion, you know what I'm saying? Right. That can change. Your desires can change, you know. Through very fast, you see, you know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah, but those like those other communities you're talking about, those other races, even though they all stem from the Black.
Uh, 347. Who's the NYC person there?
Math and Science, Supreme, Manifest, Ali.
Math and Science.
Math and Science, brother.
I thought it was one of these Brooklyn vampires calling me here. I was going to say, hey.
Normal life is not real. We are just cogs in a wheel. We work, we hurt, we search, we feel. Normal life is not real. We are just cogs in a wheel. We work, we hurt, we search, we feel.
My name is Sophia. God named me that name. It means wisdom, and steward means guardian. Guardian of the wisdom. So I'm guardian of God's wisdom to explain God in another way for people to get to know Him.
So most definitely, man. That's a lot of knowledge there that we have in different parts of this world, mainly Cali, California, and NYC, New York. First to take. They hustle out there, get they grind. That's where them niggas get grindy out there. Grindy niggas out there, boy. And them niggas know like 10 billion ways to get paid. Shit. They hustle on anything, man. They respect all them niggas out there respect this hustle. What's that?
California is nothing but from LA down south, it's nothing but party, man. It's just get high and fucking. That's all that goes on in California. That's why I came from the East Coast, so I wasn't used to that, because here in the East Coast, Monday through Friday, I don't give a fuck where you at on the East Coast. It's usually pretty chill on the streets, because people got to get up and go to work. Ain't nobody kicking it all hard like that. But in California, Monday through Monday, these motherfuckers are partying night and day, getting high, getting drunk, whatever. That's why it's called California.
They do.
This is where where the rulers go to fornicate and party.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you get that Kali. That Hindu goddess Kali, the goddess of destruction and nurturing. So she was all about chaos and then trying to love you after. So we all mixed up over here. Some of us. Anyway.
I love the beaches there, man. I used to go to the beach so much. I got tired of going to the beach. Yeah. And me and one of the scientists, we used to go to the beach all the time and just build, dropping seeds on me, One time he was telling me about the water, how to meditate looking at the water and whatnot. He was showing me just basically that. I did that for a long time. While I was being billed at 18. They entrusted a lot of worthy and wealthy knowledge that they installed in me at just 18 years. Sometimes I almost think I was wiser at 18 than I am now. So, although I wasn't. Point being.
God has a plan, and the Bible unfolds that wonderful plan through the message of prophecy. God sent Jesus into this world to be our Savior, and that Christ is returning someday soon to unfold the wonderful plan of eternity for my life and your life. How does we cooperate with God by accepting Jesus Christ as our personal Lord and Savior? As the Lord does return in the coming 7 days, we'll see you next time here on This Week in Bible Prophecy.
So, most definitely, man. That's a lot of knowledge there that we have in different parts of this world, mainly California, and NYC, New York. First you take, they hustle out there, get they grind. That's where the niggas get grindy out there. Grindy niggas out there, boy. And them niggas know like 10 billion ways to get paid.
That's all.
They hustle on anything, man. They respect all them niggas out there. Respect this hustle. What's that?
That's what I'm saying. It's true. California it's all about the money. Like I said, coming from the East Coast, out here, when you want to move into a nice. Well, I mean, like this side of the country, though, whenever you want to live in a nice area with a nice home, with a swimming pool and a jacuzzi, you got to have your shit going on. You got to be balling to live like that on this side of country. And your credit got to be together. Your background, all that shit they be checking. In California, they don't give a fuck. As long as you can show them first month and last month, they'll throw you the keys. It's all about the money out there.
That's true. True.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't see how niggas.
That's why the
living,
Mexicans took over.
know,
You see how the Mexicans got everything. It's because they, it's all about that dollar.
Yeah, they got everything while the niggas in California have subjected themselves to little poverty-stricken areas. I'm looking at them like, how could you live like this in this beautiful state with these beautiful houses? And these people aren't tripping about your color of your skin. They want to see the color of your money.
What
so
city
why are
is
you
this?
living like this? I don't understand it.
Yeah.
He talking about
Like
New
you
York?
go through places like, no, I'm talking about when you go to places like Long Beach and you go through certain areas of LA, man, when these people are just living horribly,
Oh,
it's like,
them
how could
niggas,
you
man.
live like this?
Some
You know?
of them niggas never even left the. Man, them niggas don't even go to the local mall. That's how fucked up they are. Some of them niggas will never leave their city unless they're traveling on a prison bus. That's the only time them niggas travel. They not going
On the way to
outside
Tehachapi.
their block. What's that?
On their way to Tehachapi.
Right. If they go up to Folsom or San Quentin or somewhere up there, they'll travel there. Lancaster, they'll go up there.
Lancaster.
But other than that, they not going out. Man, they ain't never been to. You got niggas around there that's 20 minutes from Hollywood, ain't never been to Hollywood before. And they 20 minutes away. They are tourists and people all over the world going there trying to just take a look at Hollywood. Those niggas live literally 20 minutes away. They can walk there. They too damn ghetto and small-minded to even want to even step outside they corner down there. So they ain't not leaving, those type of niggas. All they want to do is slang rocks, drive around the block, floss or whatever, and that's about it. They not going nowhere.
Sacco Scott coming live, hoodx.com. We back, season 3. Relax. I know y'all been waiting for a while. Kick back, kick back, kick back. 400 Block Live. That's your boy DJ Flash. We've been through a whole lot. Y'all done seen the video shoot. You know what I mean? We take y'all on a whole other ride, whole other experience. HoodX, man. I don't know if I'm fuck with these niggas. I'm gonna let y'all decide because there's a whole lot of bullshit going on with Poe, the Crown. Man, season 3 just nuts. You know what I'm saying? We got the motherfucking TV show. Shout out to Can TV. State to State Video Express. That ain't Brown, man. This shit going bananas, boy. I don't even know where to start at.
Man, look, all I need you to do is go in and get that crown. That's it.
Man, so I'm trying to get the motherfucking crown, man. I just want her to understand where the fuck I'm coming from, though.
We do understand.
You know
We understand
like,
that you need to get the crown, man.
Man, so check this shit out. Motherfucking Hood X done shit the nigga Poe. He done bailed the nigga out the jail with Jilla. You know what I'm saying? So now motherfucking think they got the right to take the crown. I'm like, man, I started this crown shit. Really? Like, man, y'all vested me, Joe. Y'all gotta let me do my thing out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, man.
Your phone go ringing, man. Swift.
Hold on, man. I gotta get this, man. Hold on, man.
With that type of thinking, that's kind of like why Dr. Phil Valentine, like people, ex-Christians probably flock to him because it's not too much out their comfort zone. So they want to go right to like a metaphysics.
Well, he's used to that Christianity stuff, and I can tell by the buzzwords and the things that he says, like I was mentioning about the when he was talking about the beast and that house he was gonna build of gold and all that's Christianity. Well, you're not gonna specify who the fuck you're talking about, and it's up in the air where you're basically painting your own imagination, your own, fantasy. Like people that think about Jesus or whatnot, and they're giving them, they're saying, he's up in heaven waiting for you. So since there's a huge question mark for everybody that believes that crap, they all produce their own fantasies or fictions on what they choose to conceive. So they start to build their own perception of what heaven is or what the Lord is going to be and what he looks like and what. Of course, Michelangelo or whatnot helps out, with most of them, and white Jesus and stuff for the Negro Christians and the Catholics and different things. Although even the other people, when they think of the Creator, like what who's that Blair says, the Creator. You know what I mean? So when you talk about the Creator that you can't point to that has a form, a formless, what can I say, spirit, you kind of put your own astral body to that. Because even on the astral plane, it is a somewhat image of your previous life, somewhat. So they can't say, well, something has, if you can't conceive it, it doesn't exist. Everything has, that's called manifestation. Mere thought counts for nothing unless it could be applied or unless manifested. Thoughts don't mean shit. It's the same thing with this religion. It's the same thing with, he's always talking about what the elite's going to do. What the fuck y'all going to be doing? And if the devil is so powerful, well, who the hell is going to stop him? Ra's just going to come, Amun Ra's just going to come down one day and it's, I'm Amun Ra, the sun god. And just, magically, he talking about the elite, ruling another 150 years. They don't have that much. They don't have that time. If niggas wake up, they don't have 150 days, let alone 150 years. The elite is 150 years advanced past us. That's giving the damn devil too much damn power. You saying this devil gonna be here as long as the planet can't take his ass 100 years.
That's right.
Hey, I
Why
mean,
would
that's
you
what
why put that perception in people's heads? You know what I'm saying?